half art and half adrenaline.
Games are the most immersive aspect of entertainment that we have today. There's just nothing else out there.
I think there's a reason why a great game will keep you up till 3 a.m., but it takes a really, really good book.
I want to see gaming get next to every single TV set in the world.
But there's nothing easy about building a video game. For 3 teams and 1 corporate giant, the future will ride on how well they do.
You have very few people that are going, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, and I want to see new, creative, different stuff.
I mean, that's going to be so cool when the hangar bay comes down and the dust kicks off.
You can only really be innovative when you do stuff that's crazy and you take risks.
We got mad scientists. We got pirate zeppelins.
If it's not fun, it's not fun. It doesn't matter how pretty it is.
They've got plenty of ideas. They've got more than enough to make a great game. But can they make that game?
Who will succeed? That's the X Factor. A new world is rising, bigger than movies, bigger than records. From Pong and Pac-Man, video games have grown into a $20 billion industry. This is one game that's being played to win.
A lot of people say, well, what do you think about the competition? And I don't talk about Sony and Nintendo. I talk about Friends and West Wing and ER and The Sopranos, right? With gaming, we're competing for people's leisure time.
In 2001, Microsoft jumped into the game with a brand new console, the Xbox.
Who can compete with Sony? Who could you imagine coming out with a game console?
But the stakes are high.
I mean, it's incredibly expensive. It's billions of dollars.
More than $5 billion to be exact.
And it's something we know when we start, we're going to keep after it and after it. We're not going to go away. Just boom, 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 boom.
This is a new space. It's like trying to carve up the outer reaches of the solar system. Who owns that?
This is about more than just games. Microsoft may own the office, but they're losing the living room to companies like Sony. Enter the Great Green Hope. It's been called a Trojan horse, packing not just games, but enough technology to take over the living room. Because once you own the living room, you own the entire home.
You're in, darling. You're in her mind.
But it all starts with games. Because if the games aren't fun, the Xbox will fail. And fun isn't something Microsoft has ever been famous for.
For a game to be successful, it has to feel like it has one vision, you know? So that person has to be the filter. They have to decide what it is and what it isn't.
There are over 1,000 people and 11 separate groups trying to find fun inside Microsoft Game Studios. One of them is crafting a new game called Crimson Skies: High Road to Revenge.
So many people to get through.
The games take 12 to 36 months to develop. The path is never easy, and it's often a little strange.
Here's the beginning of the video, and here's the end. And now imagine what's in the middle there, and it's even better.
The story is about what if all the cool things that pulp writers wrote about and saw in the 1930s could actually come true. I mean, there are things involved in this game. Okay, when we were first conceiving this, and they said, I want to build something that's instinctive flying and has a phenomenal visual effect, but most importantly, it's interactive. It's like everything in this world does something. And we've got all that. We deliver that.
Oh, you're pretty good.
Thanks. They really have to deliver to show off to the director of marketing and the VP of the entire Xbox organization.
When is the ad meeting tomorrow? Do you know that?
3 o'clock, I think.
We have to have this done by 11?
For the Crimson Skies team, the pressure is on. The green light meeting is now less than 24 hours away.
They've been working really, really hard to get things done. I mean, because this is the time to shine, and this is what we're going to focus on at E3.
We all stare over Jim's shoulder. This is how a computer game is written. First you find someone who can type really fast.
What was it, a $10 part went out? A power strip?
Yeah.
A power strip knocked out 4 servers, and so timing of it couldn't have been worse. Honestly, if I would have picked the worst time for this to happen, that would have been it.
With their computers crashed, yes, it happens to Microsoft too. The clock is ticking.
They ended up staying late last night and actually sleeping the entire, sort of throughout the day, and then working throughout the night, sleeping on and off.
This was probably around 4 in the morning.
Yeah, we did go and buy an air mattresses yesterday. can sleep just about anywhere if you're tired.
So I made sure to show up this morning and give them lots of candy and caffeine to get them ready. And you know, to be honest, I'm concerned that if they're going to be ready or not, but I hope they are.
Do you think maybe we can get Flapjaw by sometime this afternoon? And you don't think we can get that?
He was having all kinds of problems last night with it.
All right, well.
And he didn't know what the solution was at that point in time.
So nobody's working on Arizona now. I'm not going to like do a bunch of work and screw somebody else over.
Well, what happened yesterday just continued on through the night. Arizona was totally wrong, and Chicago wouldn't even run.
I need to take a break. I'll walk over and check your machine anyway.
Last time we met with the VP and the director, we told them we're going to build this brand new 4 missions, and we'll be ready to show you today at 3 o'clock. And now we may not make those timelines, and we've promised that to the VP and the director of marketing. So it wouldn't be good if we showed up with something else.
We have to show as best as we can. So if he doesn't think the gameplay is interesting, or he doesn't like the way the mission looks or feels, he might say, I don't want to show that at E3. And that's the end of the story.
Every game Microsoft owns begins and ends in a meeting with Ed Freeze.
Did anybody get any sleep? It was like
a good portion of the team did not, no.
Today they want to see what's it going to be like the press experience. And so that's up to me to deliver that feeling to Pete and Ed and show them a demo. And what we're going to show them is the Chicago mission. So let me tell you a little bit about Hearts and Skies. You're cast in the leading role of a high-flying adventure, and you're Nathan Zachary. This game is all about fast planes, beautiful women, low-to-the-ground aerial combat.
I think the team as a whole was a little worried in going, we don't have anything that's fun.
So Nathan's signature plane is the Devastator. So I'm going to get behind the train and take out some of those guns. Oh, just missed it. So there's another opportunity. Am I getting stuck? That's all right. I'll just use a missile.
Chad wanted to show Chicago, but the mission was difficult. The meeting kind of brought that out really fast and hard.
So there's 4 levels. There's the Arizona level, right? Arizona. The train level. And I can show you the Arizona one. Catalina and the water spout level.
I think we need to look at the other levels because this isn't working. I mean, the city looks beautiful. The water's very cool. Just the mission comes across as boring.
Yeah, there's not a lot of combat that happens in between.
You know, it's not just about that it's not fun to hold. We can actually see that he's not having fun. That's a problem.
The pressure to have a hit is definitely on the rise. But that's the business.
Great. Yeah, let's look at the other 2.
Yeah, want to show them the storm?
They got the raindrops going.
Particle-based rain.
This is way better.
I'm driving around with this globe of dark light.
Right, yeah.
That's better than the old.
Yeah.
And I got hit by lightning. Oh, I'm going to die.
So there's the little water spouts, and then there's the big tornado thing?
Yeah, the classical. I need that one.
Yeah, let's go on that one. Come on, let's do it.
You don't want to do that.
That's even better than the last thing he showed. So, yeah, I think you get that storm scene up there, you catch him, and then just keep him as long as you can. All right, great. We got to move on to the next one.
Great work.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for staying up all night, too. Sorry the Source Depot let you down. Yep, there you are, right up front, right next to the aisle. Should be a good spot.
We won't let you down.
Adios, Charles. Yeah, thanks a lot.
For the Crimson Skies team, the E3 Expo will be the test.
E3 represents a battle for the holiday shoppers, and we let it all hang out here. It's a madhouse.
No one can do it better.
In 2001, Microsoft came to E3 and struck out.
Hey, human, make your way in.
Now they're back again. Back to compete against Sony and Nintendo for the hearts and minds of 60,000 retailers, press, and compulsive gamers.
Oh, at E3, Crimson Skies High Road to Revenge was one of the pushes. It had a themed area. We had it on banners, we had it on cars, we even had a model, one of the characters from the game, taking pictures of people. So it definitely was shown.
Took a little learning curve at first to get hold the controls for the balance, twisting and speed of the aircraft. I noticed earlier there was one thing you could track your enemy by hitting the X button, I think, but then it kind of gets away from that and you lose it.
And we found out that, yeah, people like the game, they think it's fun, but it's not this groundbreaking game. But it wasn't one of those ones that stood out.
The window of opportunity for the Crimson Skies team is disappearing fast. 50% of all games are sold in the Christmas season.
It's not a choice we have. We have to make Christmas.
They'll be in deep trouble if they're not ready for December.
Now we're finally getting to the point where we can do real 3D scenes that are starting to look like movie scenes.
I'm not so sure about that.
Come on, Abe. You want to kick that Gabbit and save your brothers or not?
We can place characters within those scenes, and they can have expressions. That's the start of doing so much more with this business than we've done before.
I think you better stay out of my way.
Here, the texture's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Stretching.
I think you better stay out of my way.
There are many teams trying to build the next big game for Microsoft.
Here's the story we're going to tell.
For one independent studio, it's all about building a world, an odd world.
In games, every story needs great gameplay. Because if you look at games that succeed, some of them have just god-awful stories, but the gameplay can be great and they'll win. It's really about the play. If you really want to integrate story to gameplay, which is what Oddworld's been about from the beginning, it's a complicated weaving of technology, artistry, storytelling, character development, all those things. And in Munch, we didn't get a lot of what it was supposed to be.
Okay.
And it got acclaim, and it won awards and different things of that nature. But that doesn't mean it was what we wanted it to be, and that doesn't mean we were happy with it. For me, it was a devastating experience. I wanted it to be so much more, and you knew it could be so much more. But being able to manifest what you see is a whole different game.
Somebody's really pissed off.
And so I thought the wisest thing to do, and the most exciting thing to do, was to give Abe and Munch a good vacation. Treat them well and say, look, guys, you get some time off. And then go, okay, Steve, you're in the picture now. What? So, okay, here's what's going on, Raymond. We got a new type of Minotaur.
Like the Steve is definitely capable of being both very, very frightening and also being very lovable and almost vulnerable in a way.
Let's start with like a horse body and more of a gorilla upper body, and let's start there.
And we start, taking in his, start with a general sort of expression where he's playing his poker face.
And then what you found was something kind of traditional coming out of that. I go, oh, okay, let's cut out his whole midsection, shorten the legs between the front legs and the back legs, and let's make the torso more human, but the arms more gorilla, and the head more like Clint, gene spliced at birth, cross-fertilized with a lion gorilla. Okay, so Clint, lion, gorilla. Let's come up with a face that matches this guy. He's got to have horns.
What we've done with the Steve is we've taken aspects of something as stately as a lion and started applying things that were almost like a surfer bum to his hairstyle and to his piercing blue eyes. Very reminiscent once again of Clint.
And then you figure out a point in time, which you call the prototype. At what point in time can we demonstrate a good feeling for what this game will be, even though it won't be complete?
And then we start giving him slightly more empathy in his eyes, and then you start really bringing out what he's starting to feel, but still with the sense of trying to hide it. And then occasionally brief outbursts of emotion will come out. But then he goes straight back to his poker face.
But most characters, most games, never make it into the stores. With their green light meeting approaching fast, the question for Oddworld is whether Steve will make it from an intriguing prototype into an actual game.